You built like multiple $6, $7, $8 million businesses, but what's been like before you got to that point?
Well, I was one of 7 kids. Not a lot of money growing up, so I always wanted to make a lot of money. I was just so afraid of other people's judgment of being a loser, to be quite honest, that I just kept going and going and going until it did work.
Basically, what you've learned, what works, what would you like recommend to the guys to focus on?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, if someone only wants to get into an agency type model, what's actually been really successful from what I've seen multiple guys do this. It's just getting on.
What's one thing that you believe that's true that nobody else believes in?
And I don't know if I could say nobody else believes in, but I would say I believe that I think from what I've seen, I believe that most people, probably a belief of mine, is they need to ignore their feelings a little bit more.
Welcome to the HighLevel Experience podcast, proudly presented by HighLevel. Each week, we sit down with leaders from across the HighLevel community to unpack their systems, stories, strategies, and breakthroughs. Whether you're scaling an agency, building a SaaS, or leveling up your automations, you're in the right place. Now, here's your host, a fellow high-leveler, Vit Muller.
Hello, everybody. Vit here from HighLevel Experience podcast. I'm here with Dan and Chidester to talk about business, personal training, his journey. For those of you guys who don't know him, he's somebody who's built multi-6 and 7-figure businesses in the fitness and business coaching space, and also in the CRM space. Now, he's also a fellow high leveler, like most of us here, trying to make it. Yeah, mate, really cool to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for waiting for so long. I apologize, but yeah, I'm glad to be here, man.
Dude, you built like multiple $6, $7, $8 million businesses, but what's been like before you got to that point?
Well, I was one of 7 kids. My dad was a teacher. My mom stayed at home. Very religious, My dad is, I grew up LDS or Mormon, and my dad was like probably the equivalent of a pastor. Not a lot of money growing up, so I always wanted to make a lot of money. And as a young kid, I actually got bullied quite a bit. So I started playing sports, particularly basketball and American football. And pretty much from 12 to 22, that's all I did. And I wanted to play in the NFL. I got to the Division I level, which is like a step right below it. Didn't get all the way to the NFL, but then that's when I started my business career. And it was pretty miserable for 2 years. I made like $2,000. And then around 25, I started finally to get things to take off. And in between that time, like I worked at Olive Garden. I was a door-to-door sales guy. I dropped out of school with a year left at engineering, where my family thought I was a psycho. I thought I was a psycho, to be quite honest. So I can go into more detail on anything, but that's kind of like the
dive into it, yeah. I mean, we all have a journey. Everybody's got a journey.
Yeah.
Something valuable to share. I can relate to that career. Like, you were a personal trainer as well for how many years?
I mean, I guess a couple of years, because after college, like I was kind of doing a bunch of odd jobs. So It wasn't the only thing I was doing, but I was like, trying to make my way in fitness, and I was doing other things for money. But I would say 2 years where it was just like, it was rough. Like everything I was doing wasn't working. I wasn't making very much money.
Yeah. So what made you like to pursue that? So you had, obviously, you wanted to make it. You kept hustling, working at Olive Garden just to make the ends meet. Some people just give up and then go back to college, but obviously you didn't. So why not?
I think the main thing was, so when football ended, in America particularly, I mean, probably everywhere, but like you have to go to college to play college football, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to get to NFL. And when that ended, like when college football ended, I was in school and I was just like, man, I am miserable. This sucks. I couldn't picture the next 50, 60 years of my life just being an engineer. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I had great grades. Like I had straight A's, all this
Okay.
stuff, but I just hated it. And so when I started a business, probably part of it was ego, because I was so used to winning that when I wasn't winning, people,
Like when you were playing college football.
yeah, like they would make, and like I had straight A's. I'd always been pretty good with women and stuff like that. And like this was the first time I really just was not being successful. And I remember my family, and I have 2 brothers, and they'd be like, hey, dude, how's business going? And how brothers can be. And I was so scared of being unsuccessful or like a loser or failing that every time I almost quit, I just talked myself off a ledge. And I probably did that around 5 times over 2 years because it was rough.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I stuck with it, because now I look back and I was so close to quitting, and that would have completely changed the whole trajectory of my life. But I just knew that this was the only way to like kind of get to the level I wanted to make more money. It was business. Like I wasn't a singer, I wasn't a rapper, I wasn't an actor. I wasn't obviously going to make it as an athlete. I was like, this is my last kind of track I can go on. And that's just what kept me in the game, is I was just so afraid of other people's judgment of being a loser, to be quite honest, that I just kept going and going and going until it did work.
Yeah. And you got older brothers?
Yeah, I'm the oldest boy. I got 2 younger brothers, and then I have 4 sisters. So my is
There's a bit of that, like a friendly heckling between
yeah, and
those.
it's just also I think being the oldest boy, like I just always have wanted to take care of my family and lead the way, and
Okay, yeah.
I just didn't want to be. I just didn't want to lose, right? And so I just thought, man, if this guy can, I see guys like Billy G, and I actually saw him at the Go HighLevel event, and I was like, he was kind of my inspiration to start because I saw him.
He actually started from a basement as well. Yeah.
Right. And so like when I saw him, on some of his ads, I was like, man, if this guy can figure it out, like I got to be able to figure it out. And it wasn't in a condescending way. It's just like, what does this guy have that I don't have type deal? And then that kind of helped me move on. So.
Now, for those guys that are watching this that may have not heard about you, can you tell the guys like where you're at right now so they get a bit of a picture?
So I started, at 22 years old, to try to start my business. It was a low ticket fitness software. I called it the Rapid Muscle System. Failed miserably. Didn't make hardly any money, maybe $2,000. Almost quit, but stuck with it. Started selling high ticket fitness in 2020, not 2025. So probably like around 2017. And I did $1 million that year. So, I can go into the depth of how that happened, but it was just as simple as I went from $47 to a $1,500 plus price point. I could raise it actually to $3,200 for 4 months. And, they're like, hey, just start DMing your followers and close them on a call. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. There's no way this is going to work. And it did work. And ironically, because of those 2 years I struggled, I had done door sales and all these crazy odd jobs. I think that was the silver line of what
Perseverance.
I think, and it's like looking back, it's people are like, why are you so good at sales? It's like I knocked on 25,000 doors over 9 months. So you get pretty good.
Yeah.
And then from there, what happened is I started having a bunch of people ask me for help, specifically trainers, right? Because in the space, there's a lot of business coaches, but they're like, yo, this guy's actually a millionaire as a fitness coach.
Yeah.
And I really didn't want to go down that route because, you just get a lot of hate online if you're a guru or a business coach or whatever. So I first was really against it. But I then had around, I want to say 15 trainers who were willing to pay me $10,000. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. I'm 25 years old. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it.
What year was that?
Man, 2018, 2018, 2017 is kind of when things took off. So I want to say 2018. Yeah, 2000, because I graduated high school. Yeah, it's 22. Yeah, so like 2018 was like the year I started doing trainers. So I was 26.
And when did you start the DM strategy? Was that year before?
Yeah, I mean, it was right when ManyChat came out. So the way I was running ads is, it's kind of ad, opt-in page, VSL, et cetera. And it wasn't working for me. And ManyChat came out. So I wasn't even doing that at first, but they would click the ad, go into Messenger, and then I'd link them to my VSL. And one day I just got so pissed off because I wasn't making any money. I just was like, fuck this. And I started messaging every single lead and I made $18,000. I was like, holy shit. That was an aha moment, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple aha moments that really changed the trajectory of my life. And I knew when that happened, I was like, yo, I'm gonna be fucking rich. Like I remember thinking that. And
so like a validation, like
yeah, it
actually happened.
Yeah, it's just like you have these moments in time where like you just know like you just crossed a threshold and something changed. And so at that point, I had hit, I made $1 million. I started consulting trainers, and that year I did 10 million. That was the craziest year of my life, and it was just lots of ads, grew really fast, higher price points, lots of referrals. Like it was just like the perfect storm.
Yeah.
And then the year after that, I did 15 million, and that was just more general business owners, right? So I kept expanding.
You moved from PTs to
like instead of just fitness, it was people are like, well, I don't have a fitness business, but it's like pretty similar. And I started with numbers and stuff. It's pretty similar, right? It's like
there's a lot of correlation.
There's a lot of correlation, right? And so I did that. And then the year after that, we started adding in done for you offers. So to try to get more LTV on the back end of my clients, we'd run their ads. We get setters, we get closers, we'd write their emails, we do copy, we do their funnels, et cetera. And so that took us to 25 million. And then it kind of stayed there for a few years. And that, I think part of that was, this type of business, like once you get into 2 million a month, there's not a lot that get above that. There's a few, but it's very rare. And then on top of that, like COVID had ended and stuff like that. So it made it a little bit harder. Yeah. So I was like pushing harder just to kind of maintain it. And then recently in the last couple of years, like I've started moving into what I consider the big three, which is like hedge funds, tech, private equity, which I think you have a lot more leverage. And actually a lot of the interviews I've had, because I in the last 2 years ago or so, I interviewed 40 people that had sold their companies from 40 million to 4 billion. And it was almost always, not always, right? There's exceptions, but 80% of the time it was internet marketer, had learned like all the skills to run a business, took those skills and moved into one of those industries and then blew it up. And I just think it's because those industries have a lot more leverage. And as you kind of grow in business and just in wealth in general, the name of the game is leverage. That's 100%.
Yeah, and even though they're bigger businesses, but there's like there can be a lot of inefficiencies,
Right.
and a little bit of a tweaking, implementing some automation,
Right,
CRM, all
exactly.
that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, big leverage.
Yeah.
Can we just go back a little bit? So just that year when you were like, okay, I'm gonna start selling fitness programs for like $47 a year. Can you go through that grind?
Sure.
What was it?
Yeah,
like
so it was pretty miserable. So just for context, I torn my shoulder for the 5th time. I have a lot of orthopedic surgery.
it was like from
From
footy,
football, from American football, it's just rough, bro. It's just rough. And so I tore my shoulder for the 5th time. I was a little depressed. I just played American football for 10 years very competitively. My dream was over. And I was going to school and I'm like, yo, this sucks, right? And I didn't really know what I was going to do because I didn't have any plan. And then I came home just to see my parents for a bit. It was like a break. Like the semester just ended, excuse me. And so it was the end of the year. So it was a little bit of a summer break. And I came home and a friend of the family, his name is David Fry. He's actually connected to Russell Brunson. He's married to one of his cousins.
Oh, really?
Right. So
Yeah, nice.
he was
Connection.
he took me to lunch and he said, what's your goal? What do you want to do? And I just said, dude, I just want to make a fuck ton of money. And there was no bad intention behind it. It's just I grew up without a lot. And I saw my dad and my mom would, argue about bills sometimes. I'm like, man, I don't want that. So he said, well, what are you going to school for? I was like, well, engineering. And he's like, why? I was like, it's a high sport paying degree, a 4-year paying degree. And he's, because it starts at 100,000. And he's like, yeah, dude, I mean, the type of money you want, I'm like, you ain't going to make that in a job. And I was like, well, what do I do? He's like, a business. And I remember saying, well, I don't know shit about business. I'm the first entrepreneur in my entire family. Nobody's ever done it.
You kind of like a break in the chain.
Yeah. And so he's like, well, look, I'll tell you what, if you go back to church, because at the time I wasn't going to church, he says, if you come back to church, I'll teach you everything I know. And so he started teaching me how to build a low ticket offer. Now that's what he knew. Now, if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have started there, but he was teaching me what he knew. So I spent the next year building out this low ticket offer, the funnels, the email, I mean, everything. Like I learned like so much technical shit. Like at the time, it just really blew my mind, but I learned how to set up an email automation and a funnel and connect it and payment processors and PDI, everything.
Duct taping.
Right. And so at the end of the year, I went to sell it and, it was crickets. Why? Because I had no money. I didn't have a big following. So after a while, like I was like, oh man, I don't know, I'm going to do some other stuff. So I started doing door-to-door sales. Like I started picking up like extra jobs and I was just like, man, I don't know what to do. And he didn't really know what else to do because that's kind of how he'd been successful.
Yeah, okay.
And then that's when I hired kind of my first coach and they said, hey, you just need to charge more and DM your followers. I was like, bro, this is not going to fucking work. Give me a break. And I did it. And the first week I made 10 grand. And then the next month I made 30 grand. And then the next month I made 50 grand. I was like, holy shit.
It's a bit
bro.
of a mindset shift. It's like kind of like against the logic. It's like, well, why would they go like for this thing if this is so?
Yeah, and it really just comes down to usually it's more access and then it's also having that conversation with them. Because when you can get someone on a phone call, there's just something about that builds enough trust to where you can be like, hey, like it's 5 or 10 grand, but no problem. Yeah, but no one's gonna buy something for 5 or 10 grand through a payment link. And that's what I just didn't understand at the time. And when it happened, I actually remember I was relieved, but I was also pissed off. And I was relieved because I thought, man, I did it. But I was also pissed off. I'm like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? For 2 years, like I was like literally in hell. And I was this close the entire time. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like I was doing everything and anything. And I just didn't know. Yeah. And so it was relief, but it was also a little, anger, to be quite honest. I was pretty upset. Yeah.
Now these days you go Elite 360, which is your coaching program for businesses.
No, so Elite 360 is the white label go high level.
Okay.
Elite CEOs is kind of the consulting program. No, it's okay. Yeah, there's a lot of elite. So I get it. Yeah.
You got Elite, I think it was Elite Ads. I was looking at
Elite Ad. Everything's Elite. So it's like Elite Ads, Elite Closers, Elite 360, Elite C. We just basically just make it simple, put Elite and then add on the end. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I mean, it's a good combo, right? You help somebody with ads, then they suck at sales, so then they teach them how to sell. And then these days you can't get away without not having automations and some good tech. So cool, man. Now, how did you come across HighLevel?
Dude, honestly, I mean, so I have a big team. And we had used ClickFunnels pretty much every single year for, I want to say, the first, 5-6 years. Okay. And then just one day my COO came to me. He's like, hey, man, there's this go high level thing. And it seems pretty good. And if you're down with it, like, I'll set the whole thing up. You don't have to do anything, And I'm just like, all right, whatever, dude. Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Because at that time, my team's big enough to where I'm not really doing a lot of the day to day and I'm open to it. And, my COO, his name is Ben. He's great. He's been with me for 6 years. And I trusted him, and he just was like, hey, his pitch was just like, look, if we do use them, we get 100% of the commission versus ClickFunnels, we get, I think it was 60 or 70%, I can't remember. And I was like, yeah, is it good? He's like, yeah. And so we just, over time, it took us a year, but we switched over. And then when we switched over, because we get a lot of consulting clients, that's what we, we're like, hey, you need a CRM, and then they just use ours. So it's kind of, it's kind of nice because they both feed into each other. But yeah, man, it was really, it really just was like there. And I'm grateful now because we probably make an extra $30,000, $40,000 a month of commission because like we get 100% of it. And yeah, it's been pretty good. And like, I really have no complaints with it so far. I mean, obviously we used it. We just won our platinum award and stuff. And it was great. Yeah.
So you weren't, because I didn't see that you went on stage for the.
Yeah, I went on stage. Yeah, I got the picture and stuff. I mean, that was the only time I think I actually went in that room because I was talking to so many people at the event. But yeah, we got the platinum award, and I think it's for having over 1,000 plus sub accounts. And so yeah, we kind of gotten pretty good at that. But I'll be honest, like I got to give the credit to my team because I haven't done literally nothing for that. And that's obviously not normal. I've had a pretty big team for a while, and so I've just gotten really good at putting the right people in place. And so I got to give credit to my team. Like they run that whole thing.
All right, well, let's talk about that. So I was going to ask you a bunch of like nerdy questions about the CRM and stuff. That's kind of my thing, but I don't know like how much you do with that stuff. You probably rely on your team doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty good idea of how the whole thing works, but I'm not actually doing the day-to-day. So you can try to ask, I'll do my best, but I guess it'll depend on the question. I don't know.
Did you see the announcements?
I didn't, but I heard they had a whole bunch of new stuff, and Ben was very excited. He was like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to redo all these things," but it's so amazing. That's kind of like the gist I got.
A lot of cool shit, yeah. No, I want to talk to you about leadership and like running bigger teams. How big is your team?
So it used to be as big as 100. Right now, it's actually leaner. It's 40. So it's like for me, actually feels pretty small, but for some people, they're like, "Oh, it's still pretty good size."
And still, like the main nature of it being like coaches and supporting teams.
Yeah, well, not really. Most of my team they're either setters, right? They're setters, they're VAs, so like they're starting lead generation or they're like doing conversations. Account managers or media buyers, right? You also have some operational people, like for Elite 360, it's a lot of operation. I have a tech person, I have a funnel person, I have a support, et cetera. But I'd say like the majority of my team is usually it's salespeople, so setters, VAs, closers, whatever. Account managers, so they're actually working with the clients, or like then it's operational, right? So it's hard. I'd probably say, I don't know, out of 40, let's say 15 plus are like sales, and then operationally maybe it's 10, and then like 15 like account managers, something like that. I don't know the split, but it's probably somewhere around there.
Yeah, awesome. How do you structure your offer? Do you have a bit of a flywheel, or is it everybody goes like a linear path? They go through the coaching, then you upsell them on the CRM, or is it like?
Yeah, so I've been in business 8 years. We've tested everything. I'll be honest, like what's crazy, it's not crazy, it's just business. Things change over the years. So there was a time we ran $500,000 a month on Facebook ads. Now we do zero. We used to do $200,000 a month on YouTube ads. Now we do very little. Like stuff will change. So what is working the best right now is we just push them straight to the high ticket offer, which is our consulting offer. And then from there, we can upsell different things. So it's every time they come in the consulting offer, they get Elite 360, right? Which is our white label go high level. Then usually we will upsell like setters or closers. We'll upsell done for you ads is a great thing for us because what we do is they come in as a client, we're like, hey, we'll do your ads for free for 3 months. And then we upsell them. Right. And the reason we do it that way is because if they come in as a client and they are usually over $20,000 a month and they're a good client, like we already know it's like we get 80% of those people to upgrade because we already know it's going to work for them. So it really usually starts with a consulting offer, and then I go from there. I also have some tech that I'm going to be adding in soon that I've been working on for the last like year and a half, almost 2 years. I don't talk about much yet because I just don't want to be the guy who's like, this is tech and it's not launched yet and it's going to be sick. But
I'm surprised.
Pretty much it's like bringing them into the consulting and then you're kind of like upselling and increasing LTV from there is usually the method. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, running ads for businesses, that's great. From my experience, if they have shit fulfillment or bad like sort of follow up, that's like pissing money away. How do you overcome that for your clients?
It all starts. First off, it starts with the offer. So it's just good for people to know that if you have a better offer than someone else, you can actually be a shittier business owner. Like straight up, it would be like playing basketball with one. Like you're playing basketball against a person with one arm. Like that's as big a disadvantage as they have with a bad offer versus if you have a better offer. So it starts there. Then the next thing is really they just got to be good at like setting and sales, so like messaging, calling, talking to people. Because here's the thing, ads, people a lot of times are like, oh, the ads don't work because the ad or the image or the video or the no, bro, your ads don't work because your follow-up is shit. right? And so you'd be shocked at how many people, like, they don't understand like what an email sequence is or automation is or like a text sequence, or to be honest, like they don't even know how to converse with someone. So one of the reasons I've been really successful is like I've done really good at talking to people, and then I'm also really good at building a team around that. And so a lot of times if someone comes in, you were talking about ads, like if they're struggling with ads, it's not the ads themselves, because there's only so much you can do as a media buyer. A lot of times people are like, oh, I just need a better media buyer. I just need a different agency. It's like, bro, like that's not even the most important part. The most important part is really the follow-up. And so I just spent a lot of time with clients on actually how to follow up with leads versus how to make this perfect webinar, perfect VSL. And they just are like, oh yeah, they're going to watch and they're just going to book calls. Like, yeah, that can happen. But for me and for most people, it's like you're not as good at marketing as you think you are. So how do you set yourself apart is in the follow-up, because everyone runs a VSL. Everyone knows how to run videos and, funnels and challenges and all this shit. It's like the follow-up is really where you make a lot of the money. So a lot of times we're spending a lot of time with clients on their sales, their marketing, and their communication skills.
Yeah. And let's face it, I mean, a lot of businesses, they go straight for the kill. They get a lead. They approach everybody as if everybody was ready to buy, right? Well, not everybody is. They might have clicked through on something that was like, okay, that's interesting. Not ready to buy, but I'll click on it. And then they don't have that sort of a long-term lead nurture, right? That's where they leave a lot of money on it.
Right, exactly, yeah.
What sort of industries you're working with?
Well, so I started in fitness, so I also have a lot of fitness clients because, I started in that industry, and so that I kind of built my reputation there. Outside of that, man, God, we get a lot. Like we have offers with green cards. We have offers with getting people into Ivy League schools. We have offers with like some crazy stuff like handstands. What other? We have TikTok shop agencies. Obviously, like we have business coaches and stuff. We also have insurance agents, or I want to say insurance agents, but like they buy leads for insurance agents, or they're building a book of business around that. So, I mean, we see a lot of different things. At my event today, I'm trying to think of, we had a fashion guy, like he's kind of helps men like in better fashion. So it's just really anything you can think about service-based. And a lot of times it's like how to do this, or they help people to do a certain thing. So, man, I see a lot of stuff. And that's part of why I like what I do, though, because, one of the ways you keep learning is like you just keep seeing different things. And so because I have like a consulting company, not only does it open doors for portfolio companies and private equity and also, but it's like I just get to see so much data so I can learn extremely quickly compared to someone who only has one business. Because you don't get to see different companies and different things, like sometimes you don't learn quite as much, in my opinion.
Now, can we talk about that program that you have, the Elite CEOs?
Sure.
And I don't know if there's a crossover, if it's the guys listening, obviously, running SaaS agency owners, but you look after agency owners as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like even today, obviously at the Go HighLevel event, there's like pretty much all agency owners. Okay. I do work with a lot of agency owners. I have my own agency as well. Like we do have our ad agency, so pretty familiar with that space. Yeah.
You may not realize this, but for the last 2 years, I've had a secret weapon that has made running my business inside of HighLevel so much easier. You see, there is so much that HighLevel can do, which is amazing, but it's a lot of work to stay up to date with it. And even more so if my customers are asking me questions about it. And this is why I'm excited to announce that our show is officially part of the HLPT Creator Network. This is HighLevel Pro Tools, an organization that I've been using to run support for my customers, as well as give me a ton of awesome epic add-ons that make running, launching, and differentiating my SaaS inside of HighLevel so much easier. And now that they're an official sponsor of the show, they've done something pretty bloody awesome. If you go to hlpt.com/experience, you can get one of their incredible tools absolutely for free. No purchase necessary, just for being a listener on the show. So head over to hlpt.com/experience, grab that free tool, and I promise you this is going to improve the conversion rates on your page. Check out all the other stuff that they offer and tell them that Pete sent you.
You know what's wild? There's a smarter way to grow your agency and help more local businesses without adding more stress. That's what HighLevel does. It's your all-in-one sales, marketing, automation, and AI system. No more duct taping tools together or paying for 20 different subscriptions that barely talk to each other. I've been using it for 5 years with my own white-level version, stand out from the pack, helping Aussie businesses like Dimitri, a Canberra electrician, who now runs his jobs, quotes, calls, and follow-ups with our built-in AI employee. If you're an agency, HighLevel lets you do exactly that. Support your clients in new ways while building stable, recurring revenue every month. And if you're a local business, partner up with somebody who knows your market and your industry. If you're in Tasmania, my mate Jared from Boulder Digital, for example, has you covered. If you're in Canberra, that's my turf. Check out standoutfromthepack.com.au and we'll get you sorted. The point is, there's probably a high-level agency or SaaSpreneur near you. We're seasoned marketers, tech-savvy super nerds who love helping local businesses grow. We're global, we're connected, we're high-levelers. Now, I've got something really special for you guys. I've negotiated an exclusive 30-day high-level trial that's double the usual just for you. Sign up your agency through gohighlevel.com/vid or upgrade your existing plan, and I'll hook you up with over $3,200 worth of bonuses, resources, templates, and snapshots I normally give to my private clients only. So whether you're scaling an agency or leveling up your business, start with the right system. Go highlevel.com/vid or team up with your local SaaSpreneur and let's make business simple again. One platform, one login, no duct tape, just results.
Cool, mate. So for the guys listening, there's a lot of SaaSpreneurs, fellow agency owners, legends in the community. Some of them are really doing it well. Some of them are starting out, and everybody's looking for, the next sort of a nugget or piece of advice to help them move the needle forward.
Yeah.
I don't know if they need it or not, but you've got a program and you help businesses, and you also work with agency owners.
Oh yeah,
and
tons.
some
I mean,
high
tons.
levelers.
And we have our own agency as well. We have a 7-figure agency, which we don't even advertise. It's literally just sitting on the back end. So very familiar with
Makes
agencies.
sense.
Yeah.
So you've got obviously experience in that space and value to give.
Yeah.
What's the program? How does the program work, and options or?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of options, but in short, you would come in, you get a one-to-one account manager, so the account manager oversees everything. You have a private base camp where what I like about it is they have all their files, so anyone on my team can come in and see all their files. We can see all the conversations. It's all in one place. A lot of times there's conversations all over the place and things get lost, so they have their kind of private project management. We have daily.
It's kind of ClickUp.
Yeah. It's exactly. It's like ClickUp, but even a little bit better. But it's project management software, so they don't have to use Basecamp. But that's what I like. Yeah. We have daily kind of expert calls, like sales training, offer training, marketing, ads, mindset, you name it, every single day. We have obviously our curriculum, pretty standard. We do 3 events a year. So I'm actually at one of my events right now. We're in Dallas. We do 3 in-person events a year. And then they also get what I call executive audit. So I have a C-suite team. So I have CMO, CFO, CSO, see everything. Yeah. And they can actually get on calls with them as well to kind of get different perspectives. Because it's nice learning from the guru or the coach. But I've also seen that people really like seeing those different perspectives from high-level staff on my team. So they come in there and they basically will set out. I guess the first thing they'll do is they'll fill out a client intake form. We do an introductory call. We kind of tell them what the strategy is. And then from there, they're using the coach as well as our curriculum in conjunction. And then they kind of grow from there. And then if we need to add in done for you offers from, hey, we'll run your ads, we'll do your funnels, we'll do your emails, et cetera, we can do those things as well. But it's in short, it's hands-on consulting. It's we're not just telling them what to do, but we're also, helping them actually implement it. Yeah. And it's hard work, of course, like anything, but I mean, that's business, right? And it's always pays off in the end.
Now, business owners, there's also the fulfillment side of things. They actually have unique funnels, different customer buyer journey, and also on the back end. I don't know if you'd say working with an electrician or maybe a bigger business. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a bit of a uniqueness, and where the money when the profit happens, is not just in the sales, but it can also happen in the operations and creating some little custom automations. Do you come across customers that are like, hey, can you build us this custom this or custom that? Do you get into that space?
Yeah. So are you specifically talking about anything with Go High Level?
Yeah.
And so forth?
Yeah.
No, 100%. So we have a couple different options. So the first one is obviously they can just use our white label and then it's ready to go, right? It has screenshots. That's the simplest option. Yeah. The second step up from that is a custom build, right? And so it just depends on what they want, but we'll literally design their own stuff, their own branding, their own logo, all that stuff. The step up from that is what we actually call a gray label. So some people will say, hey, I want to run my own high-level agency, but I don't want to deal with that shit.
Right.
And so there's a lot of options, but what we'll do is say, hey, look, you use our branding, you bring in the customers, we take a cut, and then we'll handle all the fulfillment, all the funnels, everything. So we actually do that as well. So it just depends on what the person wants, but it starts from as simple as, the $97 a month, they just use ours and they get our support all the way to the custom build. And then what I call the gray label, which the gray label is basically we handle everything, but they still get a piece of the pie. And it just depends on the customer and what they want. But yeah, we'll absolutely do those things.
And in agencies, is that the regular business owners? Do you do custom project builds?
Yeah, no, 100%. So when they come in, if they want a custom build, it's going to cost a little bit more, but we'll build out whatever they want, right? So, if it's an agency, it's a coach, it doesn't really matter. It's, okay, what do you want? Okay, this is what the scope's going to be. Here's what the cost will be. And so we absolutely will do that as well. Sweet. Yeah.
How do you process that, the journey?
Yeah, to be honest, like usually Ben will run it. So Ben's my COO and he knows like the scope and what it's going to take. So he could get on a call and figure out, he'll do the call usually and he'll figure out what they want in terms of like logo, branding, funnels, etc. And then he'll like, okay, it's probably going to cost around this. And then he'll actually put the scope in place for the team, and then the team will execute, right? So we have funnel builders, we have graphic designers, we have like tech people who connect everything. So we pretty much have a full team. So it's just like he's the quarterback, and then he kind of relates to the team, and the team will execute.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, because I do like similar stuff over in Australia. So
Right.
SaaS, high level.
Yeah. And it's just anything you can do to make people's life easier, they usually want, bro. You know what I mean? Even if like they know how to do it, they're just like, yeah, I don't want to do it. It's like, great, like we'll do it.
Most
for
of
you.
them don't, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And most don't even know how to do it. If we're being honest, some do, but like most don't even know how to do it.
Yeah.
So.
The hard thing can be when people ask it, what do you guys do? What's the CRM? And it's like going into explaining the features, and that's where you like lose people, make eyes glaze over, and it's like you lose them. So it's more like focusing on the outcomes and then getting into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my process has been doing a strategy, so like a paid strategy. So getting them on it, well, starting on discovery. We talk about their business, where are the bottlenecks. And usually after that, it's okay, I think you could benefit from a really sort of a thought out like whole new systems. And then I usually sell it like a strategy package, so like a 4 week for $5,000. And that 4 week is like enough to go through weekly calls, and we use like a mind mapping software on ClickUp. So we just map it out, and starting with the pipelines and the lead nurture and all the facets of the whole flywheel, but for their business. But we jump on a call with the customer every week, and so we look at it together and say, hey, how about that? Based on what you said, based on the feedback, based on your industry, based on what works, how do you find that? Is that good? And then we tweak it, and then we have another call. And it's just fun, like having it like a 4 week cycle, and you got to let it like mature the whole idea.
Yeah, giving them expectations too. Just like, hey, this will, it's crazy, but if you just give people expectations, they don't throw a fit. But if they think, hey, it's going to happen tomorrow, they get pissed. But if you're like, yeah, it'll take 4 weeks or 6 weeks, like, oh yeah, no problem, right? Like, it's also, I think what you're saying that's good is like you set those expectations up front of giving them a little bit of a timeline because there's no issues. It's just when you're like, yeah, it'll take 2 weeks and it goes beyond that, that's when people start to get pissed.
Yeah. Now, how do you like? So I'm explaining that process because I was like, that's kind of like how we get to the point where we can actually then see it visually, and then we can see, okay, well, now it's a lot easier to quote you, so they pay for that, and now we actually quote them based on that design.
Interesting. Oh, so and like, how do you build out the design for them? I mean,
back end, all the automations and everything, because like sometimes you don't know, it's easy to go down the rabbit hole, and then now you've committed, let's say, to a 10K thing for a client,
right?
And now you actually realize, hang on a minute, there's going to be some custom API stuff that we need to build on top of it. Okay, well now I shoot myself in the foot,
right?
So it's rather than doing that, sell them the whole package, just like the paid strategy, the paid design of the system. So we design a system, but on a napkin.
Oh God,
it's like an analogy of a napkin.
So they can see it first.
They can see it, but you do it just in ClickUp. So it's like a whiteboard.
Oh, okay, that's what. Yeah, so that's what I was asking you. You build it.
Zero development in GHL. It's like all there.
Yeah.
And obviously we, snapshots and then like all in the back of it. They don't have to know that.
Super smart. Yeah, super smart. Yeah.
So that was like, I was curious to see how do you guys approach it if you have a similar process.
Yeah, we definitely will do that. So I don't think we use ClickUp. I want to say it's Miro or something, but there's something similar. Yeah. And you can build it out to kind of show them the design. This is what it's going to look like, get the approval, and then go. Because like you said, if they can't see it, sometimes you'll go and you'll start building it. And they're like, no, it's all, and you're like, oh my gosh, right? And then you have to change the entire thing. So like I definitely find that doing that up front is very helpful, because I've even had my team in certain situations, like we have high level clients who are already paying us a bunch of money, but they're like, hey, I need this and this. And they're not even really able to communicate to the team like very easily what they do. And so the team will build it. And like, no, that's not what I meant. And so even like with our clients, we're like, hey, you need to fill out this intake form, and they have very specific questions. Yeah. So yeah, like in a perfect world, Ben will show them kind of something, they sign off, and then we build it 100%, because otherwise like you can go back and you'll do 5 times the work. Yeah.
It's even on the simple terms, like for you guys listening, it's like, it's so common with the websites, right? You sell somebody a website, and if you don't like really detailed, like line up, okay, this is the scope, this is the price, like a dollar figure, and that's what we're agreeing on, Mr. and Mrs. Customer. Unless you do that, then there's like the goalpost keeps shifting, and then the customers will, can I get that page as well? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then like, just feel like being someone's bitch, I've been through that person, like doing a fulfillment and not setting those specifics of that quote, what the scope is,
Right.
And then you go, oh, shit, okay.
Yeah.
So you learn, right?
Yeah, 100%.
What would you recommend to, say, somebody's listening, they're looking at, getting into GHL, maybe like pure SaaS, maybe they've got an agency, but they want to add pure SaaS onto it with high level. based on what you've learned, what works, what would you like recommend to the guys to focus on?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, if someone only wants to get into an agency type model, what's actually been really successful from what I've seen multiple guys do this. It's just getting on YouTube and kind of going over like how this thing works and how to make money from it. And it's
Right, like what's Declan doing for
yeah,
example?
like Declan. There's also another man, I forget his name right now, but this other guy was doing $100,000 a month. I was like, how the fuck are you guys? It's kind of crazy, but the market is so much bigger for this type of work because let's say an average person, if you're like, hey, here's how you can create an agency using Go High Level and stuff. There's a lot more people who want to do that than what I do, right? So having a full blown business with like lots of employees and stuff like that. So ironically, as funny as it's going to sound, what I would do to start is I'd get on YouTube and start just making helpful videos showing people like how this system works, how you can become an affiliate, how you can find people to buy your service. Because I mean, I wouldn't usually say this for most offers, but it's just crazy the amount of views and growth that I've seen some of these guys get. And that's just not very common, but I think it's a big enough market and there's enough people that would rather have something like this that's like kind of solopreneur. You don't have to have a huge team, etc. Like even Declan, like he uses the guy I had a podcast with yesterday, like he does the affiliate program. And then he also is like starting to kind of teach people how to build SaaS and stuff. But the thing with the affiliate program is like, if you're using Go High Level affiliate, like they do the fulfillment. And so it's like pretty much only like a sales and marketing thing. So there's a lot of things you could do.
Honestly, that's like super low hanging fruit right now.
Right.
I don't want to be techie. I don't want to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know if there's many companies like that.
Yeah, so
like,
there's a lot bigger market for the consumers and the consumers who are just like, hey, I want to make an extra 5 or 10K a month. And so I think it's just like making YouTube videos. You're like, hey, today I'm going to show you guys how to like do this and Go High Level, or I'm going to show you how like I go about trying to attract affiliates or whatever. Like that stuff is so simple, but it's such a broad consumer base. And I've just seen guys, it's crazy. Like I don't usually see this that often, but they just seem to like really be killing it with the YouTube stuff. And it's like really surprising me because like in the business niche, there's not as many business owners. So you can have someone who's maybe really good at business, but the YouTubes aren't really blowing up and stuff like that. So I guess there's a lot of things you could do, but to start, if this is like a realm you want to get in, it's as simple as like starting on YouTube. Now, if you're someone who wants to actually like that's more like, hey, this is how you can make money. That's one thing. But if it's people who are like, hey, I just want to get customers as an agency owner, like the thing I would do is like brick and mortar businesses. Brick and mortar businesses are obviously like completely kind of clueless. And what I would do is I honestly would just walk into one of those businesses and say, hey, you know, you probably don't have this set up for your business, and give them like do you mind if I give you like a 5-minute demo and show them kind of like how that works? Maybe have a pre-planned video, or you could just show them a video there. Maybe if you have AI components, you're just like, hey, like this is how an AI voice call works, and like just actually show them so they're like, whoa. And it's like, hey, I can set this up in your business completely free, and after 14 days, if you like it, you pay for it. There's a lot of ways, but
you could do you could even do a bit of a what's that, like a gray head strategy or black head strategy. You know, go to a local business and figure out what their number is, and then go, hey, can I buy you breakfast? And then you sit with them, and then somebody else call their number, so he's talking to you.
Exactly.
And then
It's just
somebody. You haven't got anybody to pick up. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me show you this thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of local businesses just don't use a lot of these types of things, and they're kind of so naive to it that if you could just go in and you can actually show them, whether it's you ask them for breakfast or fucking whatever, it's just if you show them how it actually works, it's crazy, I think, how many people you can actually pick up as clients that way. So like there's obviously a couple ways you could do it. You could obviously, I mean, I wouldn't suggest for most people who are starting, like I don't really suggest running ads for people unless they're doing a high ticket offer. I don't consider this very high ticket, like this be more mid ticket or low ticket. But those are kind of a couple of ways that I would definitely go about it.
Awesome. Tyler, what's next for you?
What's next for me, man? I'm really just trying to like keep progressing. Like I just want to personally develop as much as I can before I die. And the next thing for me is like I'm getting into private equity, tech, and hedge funds. Like I've already, you know, taken on portfolio companies. I have my first successful tech, I should say, because I did try before. Launched in a couple of weeks, so we'll see how that goes before I talk about it more. And then one of my partners in the portfolios, he actually has hedge fund experience, so I'm going to run it through him because he's really good at what he does. So I just need to bring him like leads and, you know, customers who want to invest. And I'll keep writing elite CEOs because like it's a great kind of incubator for that. But yeah, that's kind of the next step for me is like I'm just trying to level up in business and kind of get to the next level. And there's really no other reason other than I enjoy it. Like, I don't really need the money, but you got to do something, man. And that's kind of what I want to do. So
what's one thing that you believe that's true that nobody else believes in?
And I don't know if I could say nobody else believes in, but I would say I believe that I do. I think from what I've seen, I believe that most people, probably a belief of mine is they need to ignore their feelings a little bit more. So I don't think everyone disagrees with that, but I would say on average, like a lot of people are very like, yeah, mental health awareness and, you need to feel good and take time for yourself and all this stuff. And a lot of times, like the way I've been successful in business, really in life, is I just know what will make me successful. And I just do it regardless of how I feel. So for example, I know what it takes to be in shape, and I pretty much work out almost every single day. And some days I don't feel like it. Like today, I did not feel like it, but I still did it. And I think a lot of people think because they feel a certain way, that means they don't have to do something.
Right.
And I just have been very successful being like, I don't necessarily feel like it, but that's what is required. And so I don't think a lot of people agree with that mindset, but it's made me very successful. And I just kind of learn not to ignore how I feel per se, but it just doesn't really matter. And I think a lot of people get caught up in how they feel and, are they tired and did they have a good day and did they have a bad day? And I just think a lot of it's bullshit. I'm like, bro, just put down on paper what it's you got to do to win and fucking do it. And I think if a lot of people did that, they get a lot more results and they'd be a lot happier, because there's nothing that feels better than having pride in yourself for doing something hard and accomplishing a goal versus being a little bitch, so to speak, and like just making excuses for everything. And that's just what I think average person says. And they'll say my mindset's wrong because, oh, that's too hardcore and, that's not healthy and stuff. And I just would disagree. I just think the most unhealthy thing you can do is make excuses like a little child, because that's what children do. And I think as adults, it's our job to set a goal, do whatever it takes to hit the goal, and not worry about what you feel. And I think like some of the most like mature people, that's why they're the most mature, because like emotional maturity and mastery is, in my opinion, you might feel a certain emotion, but you don't act on it. It's not that those emotions go away. Like they feel anger, they get upset, they feel anxiety, etc., but they just don't act on it. And I think a lot of people just think because they feel something, they should act on it. And that's kind of why they're not successful.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why not everybody goes into business, for example, right? They want to get a comfortable job. We had Jesse Edler. He was one of the speakers on the stage. I don't know if you've seen him when he was.
Yeah, he's a beast, bro. I mean, I think he's worth like $200 million, and his wife's a billionaire. So I mean, not bad.
Yeah, and he was talking about like his journey when he started the whole jets business, like with nothing. Yeah, and he's like, where do I go? Like, where do rich people conglomerate, right? And he went there, and it's just being resourceful, right? It's just going all in basically, and not giving up yet. So, cool, man. Everybody, we're all humans.
Yeah,
we're all humans, and nobody's perfect. What are you not good at? I've got these tricky questions.
No, it's not that true. I know, like I'm taking so long. I'm like, no, there's nothing. No, but probably, I mean, the biggest thing I've had to overcome, and I've gotten better at it, but I'm still not perfect, is probably just being a good leader, in the sense of the way I used to lead was just very dictatorship. It was like, do this, and if you don't do this, fuck off. And there is a balance of that. I think like you don't want to be too far the other way where it's like kumbaya, etc. But I think getting really good at being able to motivate people while simultaneously holding a standard. And that just took a lot of experience, because in the beginning of business, I was working a lot of hours, and, if people would mess up or make mistakes, or I felt like they didn't care, I would just kind of basically let them have it. But over time, what I've realized is that the business is only as good as your team, and your team is only as good as you are. So realistically, it's, if you want your business to grow, you have to personally develop, because for people to want to work for you, you have to become a person that they admire. And to be a person they admire, like you better have qualities that other people don't have. And so I think over time I've gotten better, and I still am trying to improve, but it's just becoming kind of what we talked about, emotional maturity, more calm, like staying calm in tough situations, talking to my team in appropriate demeanor, keeping my cool and stuff kind of like blows up. And it's easier said than done, because, if you get in a tough situation in that moment, you might lose your cool, but it's really just, I think being a good leader is being someone that your team respects. And when you can become someone that your team respects, that's how you kind of can get people to follow your lead, and they really want to fight for you, versus, man, this guy's just an asshole and he's always yelling at me and stuff like that. So I really think that's every business owner's journey, but just becoming a better leader and becoming someone that people want to follow. And I'm working on it every day, but that was something that I definitely was not good at in the beginning, and I'm still not perfect, but that's something I'm working on. Yeah.
But it sounds, having that self-awareness, it's what you're definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been very self-aware. I definitely am. I think that's honestly, I think it's a trait of intelligent people. Intelligent people know they don't know a lot. Dumb people think they know everything, but yeah, I've always been pretty self-aware, but it's still something I want to work on for sure.
Awesome. How do you find people? How do you hire people? How do you fire people?
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways, but I would say my favorite way is LinkedIn, right? So we can get referrals and we can do stuff like that. But let's say I'm trying to find someone, I just don't know where to find them. We'll put a job post on LinkedIn. We'll attach an application to it. Based on the application, it's trying to vet like how good their skills are or their experience. So if I'm looking for, let's say, a content strategist, I'll be like, the first question is put your link to your best work. And I'll look at that. And if it sucks, I don't even go through the rest of the questions. I'm like, it's not even worth it. So I'll look at that. And then when we get them on an interview, I'm basically testing for culture. Culture meaning, do they think the way I think? Not about everything. It's not, do you like steak? Do you like pizza? Who cares? What I'm talking about is, do they want to work hard? Do they take pride in their work? Are they gonna, do they care about those things? And I say those are the biggest things is, do they care about doing a good job? Do they take pride in doing a good job? Some people do, some people don't. It has nothing to do with me. My best team players, I don't think they do shit for me. I think they do shit for them. And so I'll ask those questions. And then, there's also basic ones. One of the best questions I'll ask is, tell me the past jobs you had and what you did in a day. Because then they tell you what experience they actually have. What a lot of people do, or business owners, they'll say, hey, do you know ads? Do you know this? Do you know that? And they're like, yes. Like, they just, because they know that's what you want them to say. So I'll kind of figure out their experience that way. I'll also ask them, like, how much would you like to make? So I can kind of gain, like, one of two things happen. They either say a number way higher than I'm willing to pay, so I got to bring them back down to reality, or they'll say a number lower, and then I can either save a little bit or work in a bonus structure, right? I think some people say you're not technically supposed to have that, but I do anyways. And what other questions? That's the biggest ones though. Like the biggest things I'll ask and to figure out their culture and how they think is, what's your goal? And I'm not saying you have to work for the company forever. What's your goal? When I give them a chance to ask questions, someone will be like, well, how many days off do I get? That's not, they don't think the same way. And
that's like a first question or a question that comes up at the interview.
Yeah, and the problem with that is it's
a tough one because in a way, it's a fair question, but also you want to get this job.
Yeah,
is that all?
Yeah, they don't care. Like all that tells me is like they're just trying to work just enough to get paid. What I want is people who they want to work hard because that's who they are and they take pride in their work, and that's who I am. And the reason that matters is your team represents you. And so if you have people who think completely differently than you and they're like, yeah, I don't really care about that and I just want work-life balance, it's not bad. It's just when push comes to shove and they have a hard decision to make, they're not going to choose what you want. And that's going to hurt your company because you're trying to get people to exemplify you, right? Like to me, it's like if you're a good CEO, you want more people like you, not people who are the opposite. So you can have different types of people like in terms of skills, but in terms of belief and what they think about the world, like I think it's very important they think the same way. One of the worst pieces of advice I ever got was, Tanner, your expectations are unreasonable. Like it's too difficult, it's too hard, like you work too much, like all this stuff. And that was the worst advice I ever got. The whole point of building an A+ team is find the people who think like you, and there's not a fucking lot of them. So that's why building a good team is really fucking hard. It's like whenever you're going away from the hard thing, a lot of times it's a bad thing.
Yeah. I've interviewed Karen and JC Hyde earlier this week, and then like they literally have this process. They don't even hire people who are not employed. They literally look for people.
Yeah.
Already in companies.
They're the best. They're the best hires because they're always employed. It's like that's exactly right. Like some of my best hires I've ever had is we poach them from other companies. It's 100% true.
Yeah. So hiring is important, and it sounds like you're taking time and doing it right. So it's kind of like the whole idea, like hire slow, fire fast. Is that how you do it?
Yeah. I mean,
like, what's your patience? What's your patience?
Not very long. I mean, basically, so for certain positions, like I'll test them out before. So let's say you're a sales rep. I'll get you on a call, make sure you understand everything. Okay, and I'll say, hey, here's 3 calls of me closing, and here's a script. When you're ready, tell me, I'll let you take a practice call. Then we'll take a call that we usually cancel, let him take the call, and he records it, sends it to me. And if that call's bad, I don't even move forward. It's because you're not trying to take a 3 to a 7 because people are like, this guy sucks. I'm a bad coach. I'm a bad leader. No, he sucks. If you take a shitty basketball player, you can make him a little better, but it's not like you're going to take a shitty basketball player and turn him into LeBron James. You want to find someone who's already pretty good, and then you give him a little bit of instruction, and now he's a savage, right? So to me, what I look for is what is their baseline by giving them something to do with very little direction. And if their baseline is really high, then I'll train them, and then they become a killer. But if their baseline is really low, it's like, why are you wasting your time trying to train them? And then a lot of business books I actually disagree with. Like, I think they assume, like they talk about being a good leader and pouring into your team, but they assume everyone's smart. And I'm like, not everyone is smart. Like some people are fucking stupid. And so what I try to do is give them a task with very little training up front. I give them something where I'm just like, here's a script, here's some videos. When you're ready, you let me know. And what that does is it avoids me doing a bunch of time and effort and work trying to prep that person to make them good. And they're just like a waste of time. And I know that sounds pretty harsh, but the reality is is you want 7s and turn them into 10s. You do not want 3s and try to turn them into 7s because you have to work really fucking hard and they're still very average. Like you want someone who's actually really, really good.
And that's obviously as a process working for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. For anybody watching this, is there any like final piece of advice you'd like to pass on?
Yeah, just because this happened in my own life, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made is when I was 22, almost turning 23, I didn't hire someone for 2 years, and I told myself over and over that the reason I didn't do it is, number one, I didn't really know this role existed, but it was really like, I can't afford it. Like, I can't afford it, I'm broke, I'm poor, I gotta save up. And when I was 25, I was so sick and tired of being broke that I was desperate enough that I put everything I had, I paid this coach, I put the rest on a credit card, and I was literally negative $2,000 net worth. And then things started to blow up. And I'm not saying that's the only thing that's going to make someone blow up. But the thing is, if you don't know what you don't fucking need to know, stop dicking around and telling yourself like, oh, I just need to save up. I just need to do this. No, you don't. The best advice I could have given myself is just pay someone, figure it out. And, if you don't have the money, be an adult and be resourceful. And so I don't say that because like I'm a coach or consultant, whatever. I just say that because if you don't know what to do, someone else out there has done the thing you're trying to do. And so you got to stop, you got to drop your ego. You got to stop being, making excuses for yourself, saying you're poor, you're broke, whatever, and just do it. And if I had done that sooner, if you look at my trajectory in a 6-year window, I made 115 million. So that's about, give or take, 20 million a year. So hypothetically, if I made that decision 2 years sooner, how much more money would I have made? $40 million. So people go, I'm not missing anything. I'm not losing out on anything. It's, dude, by not making that decision, you could be potentially losing hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Maybe tens of thousands even. It doesn't matter. It's a lot. And so my best advice is just, if you don't know what to do, pay someone. Don't be the guy who just watches a bunch of YouTubes and tries to do everything for free and takes it. It's just find the guy doing the thing you're trying to do and just do whatever the fuck he says. And even if it doesn't work, because I've had bad coaches, like I'd say 80% of the people I've paid didn't move the needle, but the 20% did. And it's, well, Tanner, how much did you spend on coaches? Like I spent $3 million. I made 115 plus and way more than that now, right? That's the last number.
Sounds like a pretty good investment.
Yeah, so it's not every investment is going to quote unquote move the needle. Not every girl you date you're going to marry, but that's how you get to the good one. That's the whole point. And people just lose sight of that and they think everything is supposed to be rainbows and daisies. So I just want to encourage people, if you're stuck and you're not happy and you want something more, drop the ego, find the person doing what you want to do and pay them, and because it's going to get you closer to your goal. And by not doing that, you're kind of staying in hell longer than you need to be. And that's kind of what happened to me. So
Awesome. Let's finish on that note.
all right.
I hope you guys been taking some notes. Thank you, Tyler, for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I
Appreciate
appreciate you. Okay.
Good stuff. And for you guys listening, watching this, we do have a YouTube channel as well. So if you've been listening to this on Spotify, whatever, we do have a version on this on YouTube. If you have a story to tell, I'm always looking for more guests. And even if you're just like an agency owner that's like doing something amazing for other business owners and you just want to share a story, we do have an opportunity for you to share that. So just head over to HighLevel Experience podcast.com/your story, and you get to submit like a 60 seconds clip, your name, your agency name, and type of client you help, but not just numbers like how much revenue, but think about the actual outcome. Like for example, I had a client, husband and wife team, and they had a downturn in their business, and her husband had to now go and work in the car sales, which we hated, but they started working with us, and now he's back in the business and actually they're opening a second location. That type of result, that really like a life-changing results. If you got clients like that, and everybody's got clients like that, please share it because it helps others in the community who are starting out and they just want to know, or maybe just get a bit of an inspiration. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.